Let's get more on this with Alexandra Miller. She's an immigration justice attorney and the Interim Executive Director at VECINA, a non-profit corporation that seeks to empower immigrant justice advocates. She joins me now from Tucson in Arizona. Many thanks for your time, Alexandra. So Trump says that he wants to carry out the largest domestic deportation operation in U.S. history, which could presumably mean a years-long effort to remove the 11 million or so people who are in the U.S. without authorization. Can he just do this? Don't immigrants have rights to due process, including a court hearing before their removal?
Immigrants do have rights to due process, but as we've seen in the past, the prior Trump administration was not terribly concerned with honoring those due process rights, and immigration courts are administrative courts and really challenging to confront and to win cases against deportation.
I mean, he also talks about plans to deploy federal troops to assist in apprehending migrants. What legal and ethical concerns does that raise, the role of using the military in domestic law enforcement?
Well, I think it's really important to zoom out a little bit. What is the problem that incumbent President Trump is trying to solve for? If he's trying to protect disaffected American citizens, spending hundreds of billions of dollars to deport migrants who are parts of our community, who have families here, is not going to actually fix that problem. Instead, it's going to have massive humanitarian implications, be logistically incredibly challenging, and cost the taxpayers money that shouldn't be spent in that way. Instead, we should be thinking about common sense ways to build pathways so that migrants are able to come here lawfully and contribute to our economy. It's important to remember that it's legal to seek asylum in the United States as well. I don't understand why we only care about the rule of law when we're talking about expelling immigrants instead of talking about when we're protecting them.
Is there also an issue in where to send many of these people? Where will they go, and will they be returned directly to their home countries, and what risks does that pose?
Well, it really depends on who we're talking about. Under U.S. law, based on international norms, we are not allowed to refoul or send people back to countries where they face persecution based on who they are. Whether it's their race, their religion, their political affiliations, their gender identity, etc. And so I think the idea of indiscriminately sending people to countries where they may face persecution and harm is incredibly troubling.
So how do you see this panning out? I mean, are there going to be a lot of legal battles, do you think?
I imagine there will be a lot of legal battles in our courts. I also think that the direct implications on the ground will be horrifying. I worked at the border, the Arizona-Sonora-Mexico border, during the prior Trump presidency, and I saw firsthand exactly what the cost of those anti-immigrant, anti-asylum border policies looked like in real time. And the reality is, like we heard during the last segment, is folks who are fleeing persecution cannot be incentivized to stay where they are. They have to go somewhere. And under U.S. law, we are supposed to afford them an opportunity to defend their asylum case and to seek protection at our shores. It's incredibly disappointing that we refuse to do that.
At the end of the day, Trump has indeed won the U.S. election, and he was voted in on the basis of the policies that he has talked very openly about, including immigration. It clearly is a very important issue for many, many Americans. So what is the solution then? How is it addressed, and how are people's concerns in America addressed?
Yeah, I think it's a really difficult question. A lot of Americans have fallen victim to a really tactical, politically motivated smear campaign against migrants that both unfairly associates migrants with criminality and insinuates that migrants do not contribute to the United States. This has pitted disenchanted and disenfranchised, struggling American citizens against immigrants, when in reality, there are other villains that we need to face. And immigrants are massive contributors to the American economy. If we could focus on real solutions that give Americans who feel at risk, who do not have the jobs or economic empowerment they seek, protection and support, instead of spending billions of dollars, taxpayer dollars, to deport immigrants that really don't impact the day-to-day life of American citizens.
OK, Alexandra, many thanks for joining us on Al Jazeera. Alexandra Miller, an immigration justice attorney and the Interim Executive Director at VECINA, a non-profit corporation that seeks to empower immigrant justice advocates.